So if you look directly at that, then it, on the recording, it will look as if you're looking at the screen.
Okay.
I always forget, so I'm always sideways.
Yeah.
Looking at everybody up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's like a little crumble.
Mhm. We just got them maybe 6 months ago. Have they been here that long? 6 months?
Yeah,
About
because
that.
they were here over the summer. As soon as they went in, my daughter was up there every week bringing us a box. And I'm like, you've got to stop this. For real. I can't do this anymore. My son likes the ones with the stuff on them when they have them.
This will be interesting. Oh. To follow along, we made extras.
All right.
You need more chairs?
It's not coming in the same one.
You a burp or something?
I can do it. Not that one.
There's probably some sound, it's like mic sound or something.
Oh, 8.1, no, 8.2 should actually be new business. I didn't catch it until more ago.
So not the maintenance one.
Pardon?
Not the
Yeah,
maintenance.
the maintenance one. It should be, instead of 8.2, it should be like 7.4.
Oh.
Yeah. Because we have been talking about it the last couple of meetings.
Oh. Okay.
I'm really used to Christine being the one that keeps all of this stuff straight. And I had to dig in.
Lot of work. You did good.
Gotta remember, you know, just the remembering of things like that. Yeah.
Lead person walking out.
Might be Janice, if it's not Janice. Thank you.
What's that?
Hi, Kat.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
That's Jennifer that's unmuted.
She's got her hearing aids in.
Sorry, I thought I turned myself off.
Well, we couldn't hear you. We weren't hearing anything. We saw that you were not muted.
I thought maybe you heard my typing. I was typing away, answering emails.
I got my MTD things done.
Yes, Sharon just called me a few minutes ago and told me who hasn't done and who hasn't gotten them done.
I figured that would make you happy.
I am very happy. Thank you. I still have a couple.
Oh, I'm not the last holdout.
No, I'm covering Mark's region this week, so I have 2 from Mark's region that are still outstanding.
How much
I just-
longer do you want?
I couldn't imagine what else she wanted to know from you because it's like, yeah, and you gave such clear information. I just,
Has anybody heard from my good manners?
I think they replied and said that they would.
Yeah,
be
they replied and
attending,
said they would be here.
Both of them.
I did not bring my phone, so I can't check to see if they've been. We're waiting to get quorum is why we're holding on.
Mike usually flies in at the seat of his pants anyways. Like, right.
Yeah.
So quiet.
I just thought
And
I'd
the
take a
chairs.
little nap before I actually have to do it.
Thought I heard. Thought I heard the doors.
I thought I did too.
I just texted him. I just texted him.
Oh, did you?
Reminded them that it starts at 5:30.
We had to do it over phone. And I might need to do that at some point in the future. Over the phone, not over, yeah. I might be getting an apprenticeship working during the days, possibly.
Oh, wow, that'd be awesome.
But so that'd probably be the possibly how I'd have to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
They won't have access to a computer. But I can be on the phone in my car while I'm driving, so.
So I was able to connect to some of the trainings that I did this last week on the phone. And then when I connected to Bluetooth in my car, then I played it through the speaker. So it seems like you should be able to do that.
I mean,
Not from Oak Ridge to Bend or
Okay.
anything
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
through the
I
mountains.
dropped right out of that one. The agenda typically has the phone number to connect in
Oh, okay.
Zoom as well. Yeah, phones right behind Cheryl over there. So did everybody cramming in a great Valentine's Day?
Yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday was our.
No blood and gore, no violence, just.
No.
Nothing like waiting until the grandbabies.
Happy Valentine's Day.
You can ignore my text now.
You're all our day today.
Right, hon.
I love you all.
This meeting starts at 5:30, whether the grandbaby has changed or not.
Couldn't
His
leave
mother
the
wasn't
grandbaby
there.
alone.
Yeah.
Little problem with
His mom
that.
had to run. And
I
get,
knew that's what it was.
they were away babysitting. She was late.
Okay, then call the meeting to order. Yeah, Christine, you want to take roll?
Sarah Thompson,
Here.
Tom Trotter.
Here.
Mike Baker.
Here.
Pat Stone. Here. Janice Baker.
Here.
And Lonnie is absent and Mark is still currently absent. Okay, so the pledge of allegiance. Mike, you wanna do it?
The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tom, it's nice to see you in person. Yeah. I didn't recognize who that guy.
Don't get used to it. He's getting a job.
And I work at ODOT with Sarah, but I never see Sarah.
Okay, I am in there for the one meeting I have with you, and you are not there for that meeting in person, so. Okay, moving on, consent agenda, item 4.1. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
Yeah.
And preventative maintenance report?
Yeah.
Okay,
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Mike moves,
I'll second.
Tom seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Sherry, financial report?
Yep, so we should be around, using, our usage should be about 58% of the budget at this point. We're still doing really, really well. Our medical transports, so we changed from Bay Cities, which is now MTM. And on an average with Bay Cities, we were bringing in about 22,000 per month. And with MTM so far for January, and that we have not received all of the payments for January, we've made 35,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
That's significant.
proving to be a
Yeah.
a good deal. Payroll, we're at about 49% of the budget, so we're doing pretty good there. And we have hired Randy, which is our new operations manager. So his area of the budget will start looking a little better. So all in all, we're at about 51% of the usage for the year so far, and we should be at 58, so we're just under. So we're doing really well. We had our first budget meeting on February the 2nd. It was just internally, and we discussed the budget and started the foundation for building next year's budget. And we have another meeting scheduled for February 24th. So we'll have our second one. In our first one, we just combed over the personnel and increases, and now that Randy's here, he wants to change any of the software or anything like that, making improvements there. He's going to work on getting us some bids and some information on that. We have a meeting on the 21st with F3B, who is our vinyl. He's our vinyl guy, right?
I
He
know
does
for the
all of
buses.
for the rebranding on the buses and signage, possibly, for windows and things like that. So we have a meeting with him on the 21st. And then I just sent out a new advertising contract to Lithia. The bus that they had their advertisement on the side of was in the shop for a while. And the gentleman that handled the contract before retired. And I figured out, I finally got a hold of the guy that replaced them, and I just sent him a new contract for advertising. So hopefully we'll do that. And then Christine had a contact as well. So I just contacted the third person.
So they're just the person that makes the sign and puts it on the bus, is that what it is? Not,
Yes.
I mean, we don't have anybody that actually sells the advertising necessarily unless somebody comes.
Me.
Oh,
Yeah, so
We do now.
Lachlan already pays us for their advertising, and then Lithia had advertising on the side of one of our buses, but it had been in the shop. And then and we didn't have a contact on who to get a hold of to renegotiate a new contract. So I do have a contact now. I just sent him the new contract, so hopefully we'll be seeing some money come in on that. And then I just sent an email out to someone that Christine had somebody that inquired about advertising through her, so maybe we'll start getting some advertising on the side of the buses.
we used to have like a marketing firm or something.
Additional
Because
revenue.
I kind of think not only do we need to, I mean, it's nice a nice little revenue source, or can be, because you can do it inside, outside, the bus stops, different places.
Exactly.
But also just to advertise all the services that we have and the changes, and to
kind of get rid of some of the old perceptions maybe from old services and things like that. And,
And that's what we want to talk to F3D about, you know, going over that.
radio
now that Randy's here, we can-
advertisements, so, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So that's all I have. I don't see anything that's standing out as, anything that we really need to be worried about at this point. Doing pretty good.
I'm not worried, but just for my own information. The background check totals are puzzling to me. So how many employees we have for medical transportation and for demand response? And why they're so low?
Well, we
And
only
they're
do
not
background,
dividable.
we only do background checks though when we hire somebody.
When we hire somebody,
New
but
hire.
then we had to do background checks. Anybody that's background check was not done within a year of starting our process with MTM, we had to rerun their background check. So we had to rerun all of the volunteers and then any of our demand response drivers that might end up driving medical transport as well.
So are they like $10 each? Because these are really low.
They're like $29 each.
So
They're really
we only
nice.
have one then for medical transport and
Oh, so
3 for maybe
Sometimes,
3.
yeah, sometimes the background checks, the invoices don't come in for like a month, so we may be seeing more.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because MTM just took over in January.
okay.
yeah, so we run a bunch of them. Yeah.
I have a question, I guess. Not really concerned about, just curious about the dues and memberships. So curious, because it says on here it's like 12,000 year to date, almost. Just wondering what the dues and memberships were.
So we have Oregon Transportation Association, and that is based on the number of revenue service vehicles that we have. So the number is higher now that we have more vehicles.
Okay,
And then the other one is for CTAA, the Community Transportation Association of America.
Do we have one for the Special Districts Association?
Oh,
too?
yeah, yes, one for
Yeah,
special districts as well. Yep.
It's like 300 or 400 bucks or something.
Yeah.
Well, and then all of ADP's, every payroll, they have like a service fee, so all of those do those.
Oh, fees,
The
yes.
fees go in there as well, and that's about 250 of 2 to 3 times a month. So those go in there as well.
Any other questions on the financial plan?
No, overall, I love it. I love the format. She's doing great.
Take a motion to approve the financial reports,
So moved.
January financial report. Okay, Cat moves,
I'll say.
Tom seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, public comment for on agenda items only. Anybody?
Sorry, I unmuted on accident. I apologize.
Hearing none, we will move on to new business.
Okay, I'll take the first one. So 7.1 is introducing our new operations manager, long awaited, Randy Biles. And he comes to us from Flagstaff, Arizona. And he has 17 years of transit management experience. And so we are super excited to have him. He knows transit so well, he can finish my sentences. So like, wow, this is so cool. So go ahead.
All right, well, I was with the Mountain Lion, which was Northern Arizona Intergovernmental Public Transportation Authority up in Flagstaff, and started there August 4th of 2003. First year and a few months, I learned the job from the seat of the bus and van, and moved into a senior operator role, and then to a management role in 2006, and the fixed route operation manager there from 2006 to 2014. Ran paratransit and then the supervisor crew from 2014 to 2020, and then ran the whole thing as with the restructuring from 2020 to 2000 till I left at the end of 2021, and bringing all my expertise to Roseburg. So when I first started at Mountain Lion, it was a small, they just moved from a 5311 to a 53.7 program. So from a rural program to a small urban. And doing about 16,000 trips a month. And when I left, well, let me just back up from there. Right before COVID hit, we were on track to do about 3 million trips for the year.
Wow.
So saw a lot of growth.
So what do you attribute all that growth? I mean, what did you do or what?
Yeah, where'd you get the funding?
Not with the funding, but so much, what did you do to? increase the
wanna
ridership?
know.
We increased service, we expanded the routes, and we got larger vehicles. And we were running, when I first started there, we were running 30-foot easy riders, like this Eldorado sitting out here, and we went to 40-foot Gilligs. Also, it's, the match money is from a dedicated local tax initiative, which sunsets every 10 years, and we have to go back every 10 years, or Mountain Lion does now, to make sure that the public will keep funding the system. And so in 2006, went for more money, got more money, and that helped out with more match money, and was able to purchase 60-foot articulated buses for the campus. And that's where the ridership, a lot of the ridership is Northern Arizona. Also, when I first moved to Flagstaff, had about student body of 9,000, and when I left, at about 25,000. So a lot of expansion just in the whole general area, and with that, and growth with the transit. So we increased frequency, we got larger vehicles, we improved upon the reliability and timetables with the system, and we went to the taxpayers and got more money.
We get ridership like that, you'll easily get that. That renewed, so yeah, nice.
So just some changes over the years. I've been in Flagstaff for many, many years, and I don't have any family in Arizona anymore. I have family in Eureka. I was born and raised in Eureka. I have family down in Medford. I have family up in Corvallis. I have family up in Tacoma, Roy, Federal Way, Seattle, Mountain Lake Terrace. I've been all over the area up there, and it was a time to take my expertise elsewhere, and I saw this opportunity and put in an application, and everything started from there. And I just told my partner, and she's a travel nurse, and I said, I can't stop this freight train, because it just, everything started moving so fast, and then she said, let's go with it. And so I'm excited to be here.
Great, glad to have you.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. So no motion or anything required with that. We accept.
We've been waiting for an operations manager for a long, long time.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess the opportunity waiting for me to find it.
We're looking forward to hear his ideas.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of things to do, I think, here.
Yes.
Oh, my list. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the things that you have mentioned in recent meetings, like about first mile, last mile, those kinds of things. Having like next bus technology so people can tell from the bus stop the real time approach of the bus, all those kinds of things. He's actually implemented those. And so he knows what works, what doesn't work. And that
Even
was
the routing, all that, one things I'd say, one thing, or at least one thing I noticed about transit is the hardest mode to take. So I can pretty much drive a car. I feel comfortable driving a car. I can walk and I can bike. But how the heck do I ride a bus? How do I get a ticket? Where do I get a ticket? When does it stop? What's these yellow line cords for? And I don't know, the terminology, everything to the public is so different, it's just hard. It's hard to figure out.
And
that's where the marketing, that's kind of what I was
The
getting into,
marketing
the
plan,
marketing,
yeah.
not just advertising our services, but
Yeah.
sort of how do you even ride this thing?
And, to let the public know that, the availability of a travel training
Yeah.
program.
And it's $1 to ride, or I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
$2 to ride, but it's like, okay, I don't have $2, I got $5. Well, there goes my $5. It cost me $5 to ride or $20 to ride because I don't get change. And so if you have electronic fare, those kind of things that the people, it's just much easier to just add that, even if you could do it from home or something to your account and then just ride anytime and actually only paying the fare.
So when I started there, it was, there was no technologies at all. It was all manual counters and zeroing it out at the end of your run, and just keeping track of everything with pen and paper. And we implemented a computer-aided dispatch, upgraded paratransit and scheduling software, and just a bunch of back-end financial softwares, and automatic fare collection system, smart card system, auto enunciators, stay ADA compliant.
Yeah.
And everything's pretty much automated by the time I left. So very few things were manually done, except interestingly enough, in the maintenance department, there's still a lot of paper. For example, pre-trip inspections would still be done manually when I left. So, and then recently, the most recent program that we launched at the Mountain Line was microtransit. And that was the first mile, last mile to get people into this human services agency corridor that was not transit friendly. No sidewalks, no infrastructure. And that's where the homeless shelter was at and dialysis centers were at. And the
Our bus stops are homeless shelters. What do you mean?
what's it?
Our bus stops are homeless shelters.
Yeah, there's one right in front of mine.
Sad when he's not.
You could advertise inside the buses. They do that in Portland.
Yeah.
And the trains. They have banners describing like the rules of transit, which nobody follows. And
But knowing that there's flag stops or knowing that you can't.
yeah, they
you
talk
can't
about all that
just-
stuff.
Yeah, you just, my experience, right, it was just wasn't easy to do.
Yeah.
You had to really want to do it. And so I just think there's a lot of opportunities out there to improve it, including, the routing of the system seems to be, takes you a lot of places where you would want to go. It's just a matter of, it's a little bit further away from a lot of homes and stuff, so it's not, it takes you where you want to go, but it doesn't necessarily pick you up.
It doesn't get you where you work and it doesn't pick you up where you work, when you get off. And it's just not user friendly.
So there's probably lots of challenges and opportunities to
Lots of
look at that. Yeah.
Lots of opportunities.
And of course, we have this other property next door too.
Yeah.
To develop into some kind of maintenance facility and bus wash.
And
So
so
it's like, that'll be exciting if we get that going.
when I started over there, it's interesting because the building that we were in was this end of life, beyond life use, old juvenile detention facility. That's what it was. It was the old juvenile hall. And it's.
We got an amazing
property
deal on
and-
this building. That's why we got it.
So anyways, we built a Taj Mahal with a full inside, Flagstaff's a 7,000 feet. It's not the desert. So it's a 4-season environment, which is very hard on diesel engines, and built a maintenance and operation facility to house all the fleet inside indoors with
Oh,
reading floor heating and drive-through bus wash and fueling on property. And
I just don't know where this money came
Grants.
it was
from. Did it come from
competitive-
mining or
competitive FTA grants.
really?
Yeah.
No mining.
No.
The lost treasure.
And then local match.
No, the BLM down there and I just wonder. That's really great if it doesn't do that.
Okay, well, welcome aboard.
All right, thank you.
7.2 point budget committee. And there's a change to the cover sheet. We've added Jim Delatt to that list, so
Yes,
Number 6.
yeah.
number 6. So we're still seeking one more member. We did have 2 members that, when I spoke to them, I'd asked them if they wanted to be part of the budget committee again. Both of them, their immediate response was, I'd rather not.
Wow,
So,
imagine that.
yeah, well, they're very much retired and they're just kind of done. So,
And does it have a term? Is it typically 3 years?
so we had never determined a term. I don't think that it's written into anything as far as a term goes. And our initial budget committee, this is only the 3rd time we've ever done it.
So typically they're done for staggered 3-year terms.
Sort of like the director terms.
Directors are 4, but committee, I think by law, I don't think they can exceed 3,
Okay,
except for a planning
Can't we
commission.
recruit somebody from the student body that's under 40?
we could, and I
And make an
actually
effort.
recruited one person that's under 40, but that was not the recruiting factor.
It should be, it should be.
I love it.
I wonder if we could get in touch with UCC. and
We
see.
cannot discriminate on the basis of age, race, or sexual identity.
Yes, but we can have a preference.
So what would we need to do to make them like a 3-year, so it shows us a 3-year term? Then you have some kind of an expiration date and then we don't have to keep pointing people.
Rounding them up every year. Yeah. We could just create some bylaws for the budget committee. Or the might.
Would we have to
actually
have
be
bylaws
written.
or can we just make a motion and I mean, maybe what we do is we just, you guys just come back with the dates or whatever so that we, you know, if we've got 7, maybe 3 or
Mhm.
this 2 years.
And if you
maybe
tell
one
them
year.
it's gonna be 3 years, some of them might not want to volunteer for this year either.
Well,
It's a
it
3-year
gives you an
thing.
opportunity to, you know, you can jump off anytime,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on lots of budget committees, but then you just, you know, you only have to sign up once in a while.
All right, we could do that. I'll look into best practice there.
But if we can just do it, I do it as simple as possible. I don't know that the budget committee, since it's you only meeting once or, you know, maybe once in a while twice, that it needs bylaws. I just think we just
Okay.
need to. Yeah, just do that. And I think what, you know, we appointed typically on all the budget committees, I mean, you appoint a chair. And typically it's not a board member, it's one of the citizen representatives typically serves as the chair of the budget committee.
How many employees can be on the budget committee?
I mean, what?
Employees?
Can you have on a budget committee?
Mhm.
0?
You can't have employees on the budget committee.
I wouldn't put some points on the budget committee.
They know too much.
Well, there's 2 on that list.
I'll show you, yeah. I don't know everyone else, but
Randy is the other one. All right, well, then we could work on that as well. Shelley had been on because she's part of the staff committee. She's our representative on the staff committee. And we had started out with members of our staff committee as our budget committee.
yeah, I maybe just ask a couple other transit providers on what they do in terms of the staff or some of that. You know, I mean, if we do it this time, I guess, but the term can expire by next year, if that's the case, but
Alright.
at the stage we're at, just maybe leave it. But yeah, typically, I don't think you would have staff on any internal committee like that.
I'd like a black
On a
woman.
public committee.
Okay,
How would a person in the public go about finding out about the opportunity to be on the budget committee?
so I did post it, but other than looking on our website where it is now a pinned post on our UTrans Facebook page, I'm not certain how you would find out.
Why do
about
we
it.
still have U-Trans? I mean, why?
Because our
name or the-
transit is.
Yes, why do we still have a page named U-Trans that represents Umpqua Public Transportation District?
So our Umpqua Transit website was the website that we had up and available when we became the district. And we became the Umpqua Public Transit District. So it just, you know, stood to reason to leave it as umpquatransit.com.
No, it needs to change. It
And then
needs to
we
change.
created the Umpqua, what was
Umpqua
it?
rides.
Umpqua rights, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So they're all a Umpqua something.
If people look for Umpqua Public Transportation District, they're not looking for U-Trans. U-Trans is old, U-Trans is gone.
So the signage out there on all of our buses and all of our shelters is still
I
U-Trans.
know.
And we have a marketing plan grant that I'm in the process of doing an RFP for. And so there's a whole process for the rebranding. So we don't want to just go and throw something else out there as the new name of the company until we go through that rebranding.
So 6 years later, 6 years later, we're gonna change the page.
We have the marketing plan in process now. And I'm working on it. I now
believe
have
you.
help.
I just think that changing the page is so much easier than changing the signs and that kind of thing. And when people are looking for Umpqua Public Transportation, they're not looking for U-Trans.
You can have a link to it. If
Yeah,
you-
that's
If
fine.
people are doing a search for that, Now, I'm a marketing and advertising person in my past life. So the way that they're doing
I
it,
heard about that.
the way that they're doing it is correct. It takes a long time to transition from one brand to another brand. And you can't do it overnight because it just confuses people. So doing it slowly is the way to do it. And it will happen. It just takes time.
When Douglas County was running this, Dennis and I had always talked about this, and at first it was kind of like, you know, you got the U-Trans, and then maybe you put the UPTD, and it's just some little small little thing, and, you know, and then maybe it gets a little bit bigger, and then maybe it swaps places, then you have UPTD, but then it's you know, and so you just kind of.
Yeah, and I don't.
Phase
And then you just
kind of
remove
phase
it.
it out.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening at this point, and it's frustrating.
It's
to
very
me.
slow, but it's happening.
Well, and that's
I'm-
part of the
I'm part of
meeting that we're gonna be having with F3B too,
That's
because they're the
right.
ones that are gonna be, they've already you already started kind of that process with them last year,
Yes.
with the new logos and stuff like that for the windows and all of that.
TriMet, sir,
God,
quite a
that
few
was
years
2
ago from
years
Rose
ago, I
City
thought we
Transit
did the
to
new logo.
TriMet.
Oh, is that
It
right?
does- it
Yeah,
takes-
back in the 70s.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to experience this many times over 18 years is the rebranding of Paratransit was rebranded several times, and each time it was an idea we wanted to do it. And it was a long, arduous process, you know, just especially changing wraps and, you know, finding that identity. What do you really want it to be? So,
Well, and that's the other piece is all the vehicles that have been ordered will come wrapped with new signage, you know. And
You know, I'm really excited about it.
yeah, they'll all be MQA rides and FTD on them, but we have no idea when they'll arrive now.
But so if a person's doing an internet search, they type UPTD, will that direct them to the main homepage?
Yeah.
It should pull it up, yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I
all right.
checked.
That's all
I
I
put it in
looked at.
there.
I think you put
FTD
keywords in the
there, and
webpage
it kinda-
somewhere.
It just pulls everything up.
Yeah.
We're registered.
We
We're
come up on
registered
YouTube
FTD
now.
level. So it should be on there. So Cheryl, do you want to bring back the budget? Committee
Do we want
next
to,
month, or point the 3 that we have?
we want to appoint,
Yeah.
4.
do we want to appoint all of them and then replace Randy and Shelley if we need to, based on the,
Yeah, I mean, if you got more people, then yeah, I would replace them.
okay. All right.
But yeah, I think we would probably just go ahead and appoint all
Okay.
of them, and then you come back and we can just assign the terms
Okay,
to the.
all right. We'll get some more
And
volunteers.
that'll
as
make
well.
it easier on you next.
And I'll take a motion to appoint the 6 members on this list,
Including Jim.
including Jim.
And
I'll make
Natasha
that.
is on the list also.
Natasha.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll make that that motion.
Okay, motion to a second. Second by Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion passes. 7.3 COVID update, policy update.
All right. So the cover sheet shows a lot of the information about the recommendation that I'm making. But basically, it was time to go through and review the COVID policy because there were changes that were made to the length of the state of emergency for state of Oregon. And in that process, I found that it refers on, it's page 5 of the policy, but it's page 3 of what I printed here of the policy. And it's highlighted under policy guidelines. Wait, go back. Maybe I didn't. The policy refers to a requirement, sorry, 4th page. It's the yellow that's highlighted on the 4th page. So it refers to EPSL and EFMLA, which were the emergency FMLA rules that they put into place. And then EPSL, I was sure I was going to remember exactly what that acronym was, and I remember the emergency portion of it.
Basically.
Basically, right on, yes. So we refer to that, but those 2 items actually expired December of 2020. And so we kept them in place. We've not really had any reason to have to change them, other than the fact that they refer to something that's no longer in place. So in putting together a recommendation to change that, I did some research on our COVID absences. And so on the second page of the cover page, there's a summary of the number of COVID absences that we've had. So from July to December of 2020, we only had one COVID absence, and that person did not test positive. And all of 21, we had, I believe, 14 people that went out on COVID, 13 people went out on COVID leave. And some of those did test positive. Some of them, it was a family member that they had to quarantine due to a family member or take care of children, lots of different reasons. But there were 13 total for the whole month or whole year of 2021. And we have already had 9 employees out in 2022. But the challenge that we're running into is we have these specific circumstances for which we pay the leave, and they don't have to dip into their paid time off that normally would cover any sick leave. So we have had people out with the exact same symptoms: sore throat, stuffy nose, lots of congestion, fever. The symptoms were exactly the same. One tested positive, one didn't. They both had to be out of work. It was the one without the fever that tested positive. So, it's one of those things where it feels like we're punishing our employees that didn't test positive.
Is that a rule?
Yeah.
I think if you're sick, you're sick.
Well, so we have a paid time at the minimum, every employee earns 6.76 hours of paid time off per payday. So that totals up to about 175 hours per year. And then the COVID leave would give them an additional 80 hours on top of that. So we've only had like 2 people that have tapped out over the top of the 80 hours. But we're also running into people, excuse me, we're running into people having COVID twice. So they're now out for a second round. And so my recommendation, because we no longer have the emergency sick leave and emergency Family Medical Leave Act stuff going on, is to revert back to the normal way of doing it. Use our own paid time off if we are sick, and leave out the emergency piece of it. So but I put a couple of different options in there. One would be, and it lists there what it says. One would be a motion to either revert back to the regular OFLA and PTO requirements with or without the exception for those who don't have any PTO. So if somebody does not have any paid time off available to them, and they have not exhausted 80 hours of sick leave previously, then that would be the exception if they test positive, to go ahead and pay for them for their paid time off. But
We don't get reimbursed for that anymore, though, right?
No, we don't. No. And that's the other piece. We had a bucket of money that we were able to submit all of the wages for the COVID paid time off that we paid out. And we got reimbursed from that through ODOT. And we don't have that bucket anymore. That it ended in June.
So we aren't leaving money on the table
Mm,
by doing this.
mm.
Okay.
No, but it does kind of ease us back into normal, everyday way of doing things again, where we already have a policy in place that pays sick time off, any paid time off. And we have a policy in place that allows people to accrue that. It exceeds the Oregon requirements. Excuse me, the Oregon requirements for sick leave. And it will eliminate anybody who is going to test so that they can have 3 days off. Because they have to wait 3 days for their test to come in.
Well,
3 to 5.
Yes. And I, without going into, operational details, I can't really say more than that, but it's just, that's a deciding factor as well.
well, we just know that people are gonna have more sick time.
So the
with
exception,
Omicron
Yeah.
and Delta together, and I think that they should be kicking out more money.
Who
It
should
shouldn't be expiring, the federal government or Oregon Health Authority, because there's gonna be an increase in sick time. What? Yeah, Deltacron, well,
Aren't they calling
I
it,
think
isn't
you-
it called stealth Omicron
Yeah.
now or something? That's the new way
Because
that
you
they're
don't know you
coming
have
in.
it.
Yeah.
so when it says revert back with or without, so those that don't have any PTO, but didn't exhaust their 80 hours of COVID pay, what's the exception?
Okay, so if we make a motion to revert back to regular OFLA and PTO requirements
Uh-huh.
without any exception,
Right.
that's one way to make a motion.
Okay.
Or to make it with an exception if somebody has exhausted all of their paid time off and they test positive, because that's the thing that prevents them from being able to come back to work. If they don't have any symptoms and they don't have a fever, but they've tested positive, then they're not allowed to come back to work based on our policy for 5 days. So it's 5 days with no symptoms.
But if they test positive and don't have any symptoms, then
I
Right.
thought the new one was, it was like from when you first had your symptoms, it's
For
5 days, yeah, and then 5 days with a mask or something like that.
it's 5 days from when you test positive.
whenever
We
that
read
is.
the policy every
Okay.
time that Sherry and I read the
And
policy
it changes every day.
to
Yeah.
decide whether or not we're applying it
Cause I
correctly.
got it like, it was like a Tuesday afternoon, so Wednesday and Thursday it was really bad. Friday, I thought, geez, do I have like pneumonia or something? By Sunday, I was feeling great. I was feeling normal with some congestion. But I mean, I had the fever, the headache, the
Everything.
fatigue, the body aches,
And I was at
She
my
popped in
mother's
and out
house,
like
but I
this.
popped in and out of the house because I was taking care of my mom and dad. But I never got it.
everybody else in the house.
I never did. even
Yeah.
though
I made
was-
sure to spread the love.
You're so
I do.
sweet.
Isn't that weird? Other people got it. not me.
Yeah. So yeah, out of 40 employees, we've had 20 employees that have tested positive at some point in the last 2.5 years.
So I guess to me, it's kind
or
of,
2
you know,
years.
I understand it's out there, but you know,
It's never
5
good.
days, I could be sick for, I could have a flu or cold for, I've been sick longer with the flu than I was with COVID. Even though I was out for a few days. I don't know, to me, it's just kind of part of
It's become part of our
working,
lives.
right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's, you can get anything. I guess
Well,
I,
Just-
and where
I'm
we're at-
hoping that the next one makes you spurt blood from your eyes as soon as you are contagious, and then everybody will know, there won't be any question. And then you'll be dead,
And I
and
wanna see how
it'll just be over.
you can tell.
Get it or you don't.
I
'Cause
think
I'm
they
tired
call
of
that
this.
Ebola.
Well, it's never,
Yeah.
we all know it's never gonna end. It's always gonna, but you have to have an end to all of this at some point where you go back to normalcy.
Well, and we're
Right.
already there at ODOT, where we
Right.
have to use our sick time or our PTO.
I was gonna say, what are any of you, what are
I
some
saw,
of your
yeah, hold on.
Or some of your companies.
That's how we went
I
back to
just
that
use
in
mine.
June. I
One
think our
time
COVID.
for every 12 months.
Well,
Yeah, so
ODOT
it's
tried to
days.
have an in-person conference this year, and
UPS
I'm
still
just
pays
like,
you the COVID.
everybody thinks that it's over, and it ain't over.
It'll never be
Will
over,
it
but
never be over? So you
Yeah.
have to
So
return
Natasha
normalcy at
said,
some
as an,
point.
as an
No,
agency,
you
we pay
don't.
our
Oh, yeah, we
version.
No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
Emergency paid sick leave one time every 12 months. It is an agency expense.
I could see every
Agency.
12 once every 12 months, maybe.
Because at some point you run out of money and you run out of patience, and you run out of everything, and you can't keep going like that forever because you will bankrupt your country.
well, it almost feels like,
Well,
it
you
almost
can
feels
drop
like, it
dead too.
almost feels like 5 more
You
days
can
of
always
sick
drop
leave
dead from anything.
is what we're doing.
Yes.
It's less contagious,
So
it's
do we-
more contagious, but it's less deadly now, so.
Do we have
don't worry
sick
about
leave
it.
and PTO?
Delta
or
is
just
still out
PTO?
there.
Just
PTO.
PTO.
So
So is
in
the
the whole 12 months of 2021, we paid out 1,001 hours of COVID pay. And in the first month of 2022, we paid out 347 hours of COVID pay. So.
And did we didn't get reimbursed for any of the stuff for 22, just for 21?
It ended in December, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so. I mean, we can still, be submitted as wages that gets reimbursed through our grant process, but it definitely is more than what we had anticipated. And built into the budget.
Right.
How many of these have exceeded their PTO?
Well, this year just PTO.
So the number 3, I numbered people so that they wouldn't be,
Yeah.
So
Ah,
number
that's what that
3 has been out 2 times. It was 6 months apart for a total of 19 days and 114 hours. They had it one time, but the other time they were taking care of their children, which is a covered thing. And then the one right below it, same exact situation, 19 days, 114 hours, 2 times 4 months apart, and one was a quarantine due to exposure, one was positive. So both of those went over the 80, and then we had one final one, number 19, and it was due to having a number of children. When you have one child that gets sick and they get well, and then the next one gets sick, and then they get well, and the next one gets sick, and then they get well, but you get sick. So that's understandably going to be a longer period of time, but they went to 151 hours last year and are at 104 hours this year.
And how much PTO do they get
175.
per year?
Mhm.
How does our absenteeism compare with the other districts?
So the last OTA meeting that I was a part of, as everybody shared, they're all going through similar situations. RVTD at that time had 14, I believe it was 14 of their office staff and 15 of their drivers out all at the same time.
Wow.
So they were, pulling extra shifts, and they were all extremely tired, and there were various other ones that was the most extreme. But it seems to kind of be a rolling thing, like this. We've never had 9 people out in a month, not for COVID, not really for anything ever.
How's
So-
RVTD paying their employees, or did they revert back to their,
They reverted back also, yeah,
or with the exception or no?
no exception.
Did you hear about CCAT? Because I don't know either. I'm just saying, you talked about Rogue Valley, but not CCAT.
Oh, no, I did not hear that they were having the same kind of issues that we were. There were a couple of them that reported they only had 1 or 2 people out.
Is Jennifer gone again?
No, she's. here.
Oh, there she is.
So this talks about they haven't not exhausted their 80 hours of COVID pay, but really whether you exhausted it or you didn't, there really is no COVID pay
At this point.
at this point.
So we really, we need to make our policy something that we can refer to and know without fail that we're not gonna have somebody come back and say that we were maybe trying to get back at them because they've had all this time off. Now we're not gonna pay you. Like a
Well,
retaliation, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I think that we should just revert back to the regular OFLA PTO. Okay.
So you guys have to make that decision. I can.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a
What's the
motion.
other
I'll
option
make a
so I
motion
can
that
go
we
opposite?
revert back, to that's with the exception.
Ah.
I just make a motion that we revert back to the regular OFA and PTO requirements as of March 1st.
Okay.
I have a motion, second. Nobody wants to second that.
Is there a typo on that, Stu? Where it says
I
with
can
or
second
without
it, but I'm
and?
gonna vote against.
Probably, yes.
Because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Oh, it should have said an exception.
okay.
With an exception would
With
be
or
one
without,
way,
yeah,
or
something.
without an exception would be the other way.
Okay, motion from Mike, Tom seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed,
Fine. Me.
okay? Motion carries. So 8.2 has been moved up as 7.4 for new business recommendation and revised.
Not in here without an exception.
Without.
8.2 is 7.4. It should have been put under new business. And so as you know, we've had an ongoing discussion about the preventive maintenance plan and having moved the internationals and the newer Fords from the severe interval to it's a mid interval, a city interval of maintenance, preventive maintenance. And then the recommendation had come back from our mechanic to change that. And the board had asked that we table it until we had our new operations manager here to be able to look into it and speak to it and see if that's what he wanted to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over to Randy because he hit the ground running and he's already met with our provider.
Sure, and also I had looked at the previous agency, was at interval schedules, and at one point, and they're heavier duty transit buses, they're 40-foot hybrid electric Gilligs and 60-foot New Flyers. And at one point, because we were having so much problem with the D-pin in the hybrid system, which costs $60,000 to $75,000 to replace just that one component, started going to a more severe maintenance schedule. Talking to Bob over at BNS, he saw an immediate change to the deterioration of oil when he's doing an oil change, including clumping inside of the filter, which that's a concern to me because you get a clogged filter, you're gonna be blowing engines. So do we pay a little bit up front to save in the back end, or do we run into issues with engine failures? And these vehicles are, they get driven hard. These vehicles in question I put on here, they're the ones running the Roseburg route, so it's stop and go, idling all day long, up to 14 hours a day. Looking at the use of the vehicle, in my opinion, definitely falls under severe maintenance. And right now with the supply chain the way it is, we lose an engine. We don't know when the other vehicles are coming. I mean, there's just a lot of reasons to do this, and that was my recommendation.
So what was the maintenance cost annually?
Oh, of the internationals?
Yeah, what do we pay currently for annually for maintenance?
I
On regular maintenance, not all the other stuff that we,
I would have to look it up. I'm sorry, I was not prepared for that question.
I just
Thanks, Mike.
It said it'll double the preventive maintenance cost, so I was just curious how it's
So
double,
as
double
I
up.
was looking back through preventive maintenance costs through the quarter and through, I believe it was May of last year, because we're putting in for a preventive maintenance grant.
Mhm.
Our range has been a low of $15,000, but that was in like April of last year. And we have gone to 37, 45, 49 in some of the quarters, not months, but quarters. So that's partially because we have a lot more vehicles now, because we took on the dial ride vehicles. So, you know, we've done the inspections and maintenance on those as well. But yeah, our cost for maintenance is definitely going up. And I did not separate those vehicles out in that, but I could do that. Or I could have,
I agree with the recommendation.
I could have Randy do it.
I'm getting better at Fleetio, so.
Uh-huh.
And that still falls within our parameters with our,
Yes.
okay,
Oh,
the grant, the preventive maintenance. 'cause we're-
so that's why I'm applying for the 5310 preventive maintenance grant, is because at the rate we're going, we will be out of preventive maintenance funds that we had budgeted for 2 years by the end of this year. So that's.
So everybody just might
Mhm.
be across the board.
So, and like, I believe it was you mentioned, Randy mentioned, with not knowing when the new vehicles are gonna arrive. It's really important to keep the ones that we have running.
And the cost of an engine and the international, I think upwards of 30,000 plus, so.
Here for motion.
Yeah. if I'm not-
Okay, I'll move to adopt a change to UPTD's vehicle preventive maintenance program to include severe service preventative maintenance intervals for UPTD revenue service vehicles 11, 16, 15, 11, 16, 16, whatever. All the ones that are mentioned in alternative one and any additional ones the operation room manager feels that they need to go to.
We have a motion from Mike and a second from Cat, all in favor. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Great, motion carries. On to old business.
No sense limiting you to this. Something else.
Right.
8.1 evaluation form.
So I included the evaluation form that Lonnie had provided last time. And having listened to the meeting multiple times to do the minutes, I realized that the ask had been for us to go through the form and discuss what we wanted to keep, what we wanted to take out, and come up with a form that you guys approve for evaluating my performance.
Can I make a motion to accept it as written? You can.
You could.
I'd like to do that. Now we can have discussion, everybody.
Do you have a second?
That's second.
Okay, Tom, second. Any discussion?
Yes. The other thing that I added to that is you had asked for a list of my goals. And so what I did is I listed my top 10 goals, and then I put them out by quarter, by month. And because some of them I work on for a month here, a month here, a month here. And then others, you know, they're like 3 months in a row and then not again for a year. And so I just marked out what that goal includes, and then and where it falls in the year that I work on it.
We just wanted to show off.
Well, no, I had to, in order to be able to.
I like it. I do too. So,
I mean, I think there's some things in here that we just don't know about.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like, ensure, let's see, ensure job descriptions are developed and regular performance reviews are completed and documented. Yeah, I guess so. I hope so. But I mean, I
We
can't
could
really
add
say
another-
exceeds meets or improvement needs because
Well,
I
we
really
wouldn't
don't
know
know.
unless she put it on there and then we
We could
ask her.
include a fourth one that says NA.
I can also do a self-evaluation that is gonna provide a lot of that information for you
I
because
like that.
I am hypercritical of my own performance. So
Maybe just a percentage completion and a percentage on time or something like that. I guess would be the-
Yeah.
I like having the extra column, where you- maybe unknown or not applicable.
Yeah.
For an option.
So now can we vote?
Any other discussion?
Yeah. I think otherwise it looks good right there, yeah.
Okay.
Is it on a, I don't know. Question I don't need to ask.
Okay, all in favor of the executive director evaluation form?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. General manager reports.
So big news is the MTM. I just did a little summary here. And we split it out by the sedan rides and the wheelchair van rides. So for the month of January, we provided 570 sedan rides. That was 886.25 volunteer hours and 27,046 volunteer miles. There were 277 wheelchair van rides, and that included 388 employee hours, 6,865 employee miles, with a projected income for those rides of 50,588.
So we've received 35, but we're expecting that January really is 50,000 versus
Yes.
18,000,
because
15,000. What was it before?
20,
Yes.
like
22,000. Yeah.
There were a lot of times when we first started that the expenses for mileage, paying the volunteers mileage,
Mhm.
left us with a net of about 2,000, maybe 3,000 a month. So we were providing the service, but we definitely weren't making a lot of money on it.
What do we think our net is here? 4,
So
5, 6,000?
I will come back with a better
Okay.
number for you. Just getting the process in place. I want to make sure that we pull all the employee hours that are associated with this and make sure that they're not intermingled with our demand response. So yeah, that's why there's a bottom line there. But I ended up leaving it blank because I didn't want to give you a maybe.
Is that a house, an accounting thing that they're mixed up?
No,
Okay.
Selena actually has all the data. I just didn't, because my right hand was gone for 3 weeks.
Where was she?
My kids had COVID.
Oh, you would be
And then I had
employee
it.
number
I was
9.
trying
Then
not
I
to
had
point
it.
that out.
Oh, there goes your hip.
Yeah. All right, so for Q3 on the ridership data, we had a total ridership on our fixed route of 4,539, which has actually gone down since last month. And that's just really hard for me to say. The ridership comparison between January of 21 and January of 22, though, for year over year, we've gone up by 1,175 for the Roseburg route. Down a little bit on the Winston-Sutherland commuter, and then up 199 on the South County ridership. South County is really strong ridership, where everything else dipped. It dipped some, but not nearly as much as everything else. So
Looks like there's a lot of opportunity in Winston-Salem.
yes, There definitely is. Okay, so when we had an employee meeting and took the fixed route drivers out to show them the new path of travel for the Winston-Sutherland route. And when we pulled into the Abbey's stop, basically we pulled it in there so that we could stand up and have conversation with the drivers. And there were two people that were sitting in the shelter, and we thought that, you know, they were just hanging out in the shelter because it's someplace to sit. Well, they thought they were getting on the bus on Saturday in Winston, and we felt really bad for them because I had to tell them no. I was standing there in the doorway and I told them, I am so sorry, but this is a training bus and no, we cannot give you a ride into town. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, definitely a lot of opportunity. And then we also have on the final page, the ridership for our Umpqua rides. And it is up over last year for the, I apologize. That is not a true statement. I don't know if it's up over January of last year because it starts with February of last year. But it is.
Based on the numbers, it probably is a little bit.
Yeah. All right. So for 12 months, it was 300 or 3,887. Wait. All right. And Mercy Express, they did really good numbers considering they had 3 different vehicle breakdowns for multiple days at a time. We were able to get them another vehicle, and we actually took one of our revenue service vehicles that we've been using here and gave it to them to ensure that they could continue to provide service. But they are now back up to having 3 vehicles. They've added another vehicle, so we should see steady increases from them. Do you have any questions I could answer on ridership? There's the comparison. All right. And then everything on the report, you know, the biggest deal for us was bringing Randy on board. So that's why we put him on there as number 1. And same as with Sherry, bringing a professional on board that actually has knowledge of an area of expertise has exponentially changed my ability to focus. So huge, it's just huge. And I can feel the relief coming, you know.
Blood pressure going down.
Well, the first day that he sent me a staff report in the email, it was like probably 15-20 different items that we had brief discussion, which we were ping-ponging all over the place. Oh yeah, and this, oh hey, and that. And he gave me a full-on report of where he was in the progress of everything that we had talked about and then some. So at that moment, I thought, okay, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So I've been working on reports, which is, you know, ongoing, seems like all the time. Our charter bus and COVID reports are complete. I'm still waiting on, but that's for February. So waiting on information from AccuHealth for our DAMUS report. I did attend our OTA board meeting, the Southwest Area Commission on Transportation and the Region 3 Transit Managers meeting. And the information that was provided back to us from our SWACT meeting, I went ahead and forwarded it out to the board because of the request you had made, because it was far more detailed and covered everything that we've gone over better than I could ever bring it back to you. So that's why I went ahead and just forwarded you the email that had been forwarded out to our whole team. So part of our drug and alcohol management, I have to go through the whole, they call it a test vault, where all of our folks that have done a pre-employment drug and alcohol test and are in our random pool where they reside, all of their information resides. So I went through and made sure that everybody was classified in the right place, because we do have more than one place now. We did get Mercy on board, so they are now in our drug and alcohol testing pool as a separate site. So we'll be able to draw the randoms for them and provide them to them, and that will help us stay in compliance better. So that's just one of those things that's a project to go through every single person and look at all of their information and plot the times and days that the randoms were done, all that good stuff, because it's all things that we have to report on. And of course, I worked with Sherry and Randy on our budget process. We met and did go through the initial information, discussed what we needed to have added in. We're looking right now at training opportunities and what we need to have in the budget for that. And our OPTC, Oregon Public Transportation Conference, that we thought was going to be live and in person is now going to be a virtual conference. So where we had actually budgeted funding to be able to pay for hotel and travel, all that kind of stuff, that goes back into the pot. But CTAA is possibly, they're planning on being live at this point. So it's just kind of hit and miss as to whether or not we're going to have to spend our training funding. So then as a result of COVID, I did our meeting. I got to go through everything that Christine took off my plate in the beginning. And then I did extend the Reedsport contract for the dial-a-ride service because I have not yet gotten through the RFP. Jennifer and I did the training for the Oregon Buys website, which is really just a kind of a lateral version of the Bonfire software that we had used to do our initial RFP. So once we got that off the table and I got access to that website, I've never gotten back to it. So that is on the agenda, and we'll get that RFP done and get them a real contract that's not just an extension.
But we're in communication with them, letting them know each step of the way.
Yes. And if I don't communicate often enough, then they ask questions.
I thought.
Yes. So let's see here. Of course, just the everyday stuff. We provided the random draws to the appropriate supervisors, and that's for the whole quarter. I completed round 2 of NTD. Oh, validation. I spelled that wrong. But today I just completed round 3 of the NTD validation. We did conduct training a couple of hours for the dispatchers on their own. We conducted training for the demand response drivers, and we combined that with the dispatchers so that they could see better how their positions interact and what the expectations are of each one of them, and have them all in the same room to hear it from the powers that be, so to speak. So Selena and I were in solidarity. This is the expectation of you as a dispatcher, and this is the expectation of you as a demand response driver. And that was some stuff that we had kind of just rushed through in July when we brought them on board. So Sherry and I are working on a what they call a single audit, because we had more than what's it, 700 and 800, more
It's
than,
like
a-
790 some thousand.
yeah, we had more than that number.
I expect to
In
see-
20
Was it
750.
750?
Yeah, so ours was about 900,000 for the 2021 year. So we're still finishing out the audit process for that 2021 year that we got behind on. So the single audit, we were not aware that we were going to have to do. And the auditors didn't know that we were going to have to do it either. And so this is, you know, it's kind of playing
It's in
catch up.
addition to the audit that we already have done. This is separate.
Yep. And we're still in the process of finishing up the Sutherland Winston route and planning to get that on track here in the next couple of weeks, get them out there driving those routes. And of course, you know, we already reviewed the COVID policy. I ordered computers.
They come in?
Nope.
It's supposed to be
There
today,
should
wasn't
be.
Tomorrow.
Well, so the one that we ordered for the other dispatch station came in today. I
Okay.
ordered it after, like a week after I ordered his laptop. And it got here before his
When I
laptop.
started with ODOT, I had a computer for 2 days. And then they took it, and then I didn't have a computer for like, I don't know, a month or two.
Oh, wow.
I had to make up my whole position and train myself, so to speak.
Well, that would account for
Without a
a
computer.
lot.
Yeah, exactly. Make it up as I go. Don't ask too many
Yes,
questions.
yes. God, what a dream job.
That's funny. So the last thing that we did is we met with Jennifer King. She's our contact for workman's comp, and went through that renewal, and we had really good experience. So we didn't have an increase. As a matter of fact, we had a
We
decrease.
had, yeah.
Yeah, a slight decrease. And then we opted to pay the full year in advance because that gives us a 3% discount, yes. So to get 3% off of 24,000 was, it's definitely worth doing
If we
it.
can afford it, yeah.
So any questions? I didn't put it on there, but I did spend a lot of time and thought going through the goals and how to present them in such a way that it would explain what that goal entails, the steps, and who else might be involved in those goals. Because a lot of my goals are not just me, they're me and operations or me and finance. So
So you want to have a special section to go over that, since I brushed this through it.
oh no, this is part of what you guys get to use with the, well, I mean, I could if you wanted me to.
Well, not tonight.
Yeah.
just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just suggest that for, that I think this is really good internally for
Yeah.
you, for personally for you to work with, but I think for the board, broader goals.
Broader.
So, you know, we want to increase ridership. Now, to increase ridership, we're gonna A, B, C, D, which may, you know,
Now I
Maybe
can
other
go
things.
there.
yeah, so just, you know, I mean, just, I think for a board, typically much broader. So, you know, we want to do some more marketing, or we want to increase staff knowledge, or, yeah, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up at this point. But anyway, just something broader, and then you can kind of break that down to all the things that you might need to do to help achieve that overall vision or goal.
Okay. I thought you guys would want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you'd want to know. All right, next time I'll just take where it says goal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be it.
Thanks, Cheryl. Jennifer, do you have an ODOT update?
I do. Today, there were several grant applications due for the discretionary. We had 5339 bus replacement, 5310 And 5307 doesn't apply to you guys, and STGB bus replacement that were due today. And then tomorrow, the APRs and SPRs, the quarterly reports are due. The conference, Cheryl also already mentioned that the conference is going to be in by virtual. So you'll want to get signed up for any conference sessions that you want to take. And then the other thing that I want to let agencies know is that we are in the process of our state management review for Salem. This is a triennial review, and typically the reviewers in the past have gone to agencies that are fairly close to Salem to review. They pull several of our agencies and look at some of their procurement policies, their drug and alcohol, different aspects of compliance. And what they said at our meeting was that because they're virtual this year, they have the opportunity, we'll say it as an opportunity, to go visit agencies that are farther out. So there is a chance that that you guys might get picked as an agency that will be asked to provide additional information either on your procurements, on some of your contracts, could be on your drug and alcohol program. Several things could be pulled. We will know later this month because we just turned in all of our paperwork for that review last week. So we should know by the end of this month who's going to be picked. I anticipate we probably will have somebody from Region 3 because we haven't had anybody for the last 2 cycles of reviews for Region 3. But I'm kind of hoping that they go to Region 5 because that's so far away for them to go. So, you know, pick the farthest ones away. But we'll see. But I want you to be prepared for that. And we will give you as much notice as we possibly can if it comes to that. And let's see, statements of work are going to be coming your way for any grants that you applied for and receive, and that will happen in April and early May. And then those grants will become available July 1. And there's still a lot of backlog on vehicle procurement. So unfortunately, everybody's trying to get all these orders in, and we have no idea when a lot of the vehicles ordered are going to be here. So still shortages and all of that fun stuff. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, any not on agenda items? No. Okay, public comment?
I have a couple.
Okay, you state your name for the record.
Oh, my name is Jim Delap. Cheryl said that you were at Abby's one time and people were waiting, thought they were gonna be able to use the bus. Do you have a capability of putting not in service on your buses?
It did say not in service.
It was
It
Winston.
did say.
They can't read.
My other question is, you said you're putting into service new routes in the Winston area and everything. How soon will it be posted in the shelters?
Oh, so we're hoping to post online tomorrow, the proposed schedules. And then that is a good question, and it would probably be no later than Wednesday.
I was somewhere where a shelter was available today. I walked in there and looked at it, and so that, because you said that, I was looking at it and go, okay, how quickly are they updated?
So if I'm in Winston and Sutherland and you're increasing the routes, I know that you go here and there, and I might even, maybe I know that you do it once in a while. So we're gonna advertise this on the radio or do a press release or something so that people can at least be driven to the website or something?
Yes,
Look it up.
we'll do the press release as soon as we have the schedule and the map on the website.
On the website.
And the schedule, the proposed schedule in the shelters. Honestly, that's only 3 shelters that are Winston and Sutherland, but then we need to get them in all 33 shelters.
Are we gonna try to acquire additional shelters for all the new routes and locations?
Yes. That'd be on the non-bus 33 or
Yeah.
53,
So
30.
make sure you put some money for labor. When we get the Eagle Scout projects too, so getting money for labor.
Does the southern one bus go to Oakland once in a while?
So then in the new proposed schedule, yes, it goes, I believe twice in the morning, once at noon and 3 times in the evening,
Every day?
every day.
My God,
It will,
it will.
yes.
Monday through Sunday?
Monday through Friday to begin with, and then we need to make sure that we have enough drivers to ensure we have Saturday service.
But no Sundays.
No Sundays yet.
So how much longer before they were making a decision on that expansion? Is that coming out pretty soon then, or is that still up in the air for a while?
On the 5339,
I mean, for the bus routes that they're studying and possible expanding into like the South County commuter or the feeder.
oh,
And
so.
2 routes in Roseburg, right?
So all of the expansion and increased frequency that we have in place right now that we're moving toward has all been identified in previous coordinated plans. Everything has to be in a plan before we can move forward on it. So it was in the coordinated plan, and it is in our STIF plan, our Special Transportation Improvement Plan. So we have funds set aside specifically for those projects. It has just been a matter of not having enough manpower on board for me to follow through and get everything done. So this is the last building block in the foundation. So, and the only reason it's not online today is because we were preparing for the board meeting. So, yeah.
So is that related to the survey that was put out? I think that's kind of.
So the survey is for our 20-year master plan.
So the changes that are coming aren't those changes.
No, those are
So
the
some
past
of-
changes.
So some of those are the recommended changes that we're already in the process of implementing. And then some of them are how to improve better, even over and above what we've already got in the plan.
It's like for the Winston, or not the Winston, but the Sutherland route, they're talking about expanding further west, right?
Yes,
So is that something that's gonna be happening pretty soon then? That is
Yes.
actually, okay.
yes. Yes, I'll send maps and schedules out to you guys.
Did you have anything else, Jim?
No, okay.
Okay. Any public comment on the Zoom call? Natasha, Shelley?
No, thank you.
Agenda build for next meeting, March 14th. Anybody have any special requests for next meeting?
We'll have an executive session, is that right? Or no?
Today?
For the
Oh, for the review.
review,
Yeah.
yeah.
for
Oh,
the executive session.
yeah,
Let's keep it simple. March is such a slow.
Are we gonna fill out, it'd be helpful actually if we fill out our forms ahead of time
Mm,
and bring them filled out. to the
so
next
can you
meeting.
do that sub-survey before the next meeting and get it to us like a week ahead of time at least, so we have time to review
Yes, ma'am.
it? Okay. Anything else? Okay. Meeting adjourned 7:02.
Nice to meet you, Randy.